Hello, it is Friday, March 4th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Friday puzzle, so our first Themeless of the week, and this Themeless edition of the Daily Solve is brought to us by Victoria Rojishka, Austi Pellicer, and as always, the inestimable Hood Monster. So thank you so much to the three of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. If you'd like to join their ranks and get the Let's Check the Crosses Daily Solve mug, and this recognition, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. And thank you to everybody who has backed the Patreon campaign at any level. That's the way to help make this series and this channel a sustainable part of my daily work. And so I very much appreciate those of you who have done that. And of course, if you do support that Patreon campaign at any level, you get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up to date. I'll have, I guess today will be the speed solves, the mini puzzle week of speed solves, and I need to do the new monthly New York Times bonus puzzle as well, and the constructor's corner actually. So I have a few puzzles on the backlog to solve for patrons. Anyway, yes, you get access to all of those and the extra channel on the Daily Solve Discord chat server, the rest of which is free for anybody to join. So links to these things in the description field underneath the video. And now, let's solve today's puzzle. This is a Friday puzzle, so as I said a moment ago, it is Themeless, our first of two Themeless puzzles for the week. It was constructed by David Distenfeld, and actually, David Distenfeld's second New York Times crossword, so just like yesterday, a second puzzle from the constructor. And it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So, let's get started, shall we? All right, better suited. It could be apter, more apt, perhaps. Let's check the crosses on that and see if that's helpful. Waldorf salad ingredient. Oh, isn't apple in a Waldorf salad? I think that's right. Maybe blue cheese as well. Captain Marvel portrayer. I don't know. What about this? Brand owned by Campbell's. I don't know why I said it like that. Campbell's soup. I don't know. I'm sure I'll recognize this, but I don't see it offhand. Little one of rhyme. Little Bo Peep. Little. Why can I not think of any other littles? What about this? Spots where you might count sheep. Oh, in a field, in a lee field. I wonder if that's what that means. Obviously, the way one would read this, I think, by default, is that it refers to counting sheep in order to fall asleep at night. But I think this is more literally, it's a bit of misdirection. And maybe on an earlier day of the week, on a, I don't know, Monday to Wednesday, perhaps there would be a question mark here to indicate that it's a little bit punny, but not today, not on a Friday. So letter opener, and here we do have a question mark indicating a pun or wordplay, so I think this is simply the letter L, the opening of the word letter. And what about this? Basis for a case, a trial something? A court case, presumably? Does that help here? Brand owned by Campbell's. Boy, I'm really not sure. And then here we have little one of rhyme. Little... This has got to be pretty obvious, but I'm just not sure. I don't know. What about this? One of two in a 747. Well, actually, I was going to say deck, but because it's one of two of them, but deck doesn't fit. So a 747 is a very large passenger airliner. They are almost all gone now in terms of passenger service. They're still used for cargo, but it is, as far as I'm concerned, the most beautiful airliner that has ever been built. It was in service, I think, from mid-1960s until, I mean, still now, I think there are still a few flying, but within the last 5 years, it's really plummeted, the frequency of them. Anyway, the 747, an absolutely gorgeous plane, and it does have two decks, but I'm not sure what this is. It has four engines. What does it? Oh, is it simply the letter 7, the number 7? Is that what it is? One of two in a 747? Is it just 7? It might be. I don't know. I don't actually think it is. Because right here, letter opener, which would be the same kind of wordplay, had a question mark, and this one doesn't. I mean, it doesn't need a question mark, but I can't imagine why the constructor would have put one here, but not here, when these are referring essentially to the exact same thing. One of two in a 747. Cabin? I don't really think you would say that. I don't think that's accurate. Boy, that is very frustrating that I can't get that. I should move on. Let's just move through some of the acrosses. Genre for for Jersey Shore and the real world. I started saying reality because I thought, is this a reality show? Is that what you'd call it? But that doesn't fit. Genre for Jersey Shore and the real world. Believe it or not, I've actually never seen Jersey Shore. I do think I saw a few episodes of The Real World growing up. That was MTV's, I suppose, in a way, sort of progenitor to all of these reality shows. I don't know. Maybe there were other earlier ones with which I'm unfamiliar. But what is the genre? I don't know. I always just knew them as reality shows generically. What might get stuck in a window? Promises too much. Over hypes, maybe? Could be over something. Tactic of radical environmentalism, I'm not sure. Let's just keep going. Respect. I don't know, boy, I'm not doing very well here, am I? Probably should remove over until I'm more confident about that. Cold brew alternative. Hot coffee, is it as simple as that? Maybe. Cold brew being cold coffee, obviously. The alternative is hot coffee. I don't know. Is that simple? Actress Wilson. Oh, isn't there Rhea Wilson? Is that somebody? That sort of rings a bell. I can't picture who it is or what she looks like, but that might be the answer. I don't know. The problem is, if I'm not confident about any of the crosses, then I'm not sure how to get that. Preserves as flavor. Seals in? Is that seems so odd, but with that A there, I'm trying to imagine what it would be. Blank Daniels, main role on The Wire. I've seen all of The Wire, but of course I can't remember this. Not my finest hour, I must say. Lack of objections in a phrase. No. I don't know. I have no objections is all I keep thinking, but that's obviously not the answer. Tactic of radical environmentalism. Oh, could be eco something because of the environmentalism bit. And then what about this? I don't know. Promises too much. Well, if this is indeed hot coffee, which it may or may not be, then this wouldn't be over anything. Oh, something sells. Maybe it is oversells. I mean, this could be completely wrong. That was an utter guess based on hot coffee, so I should probably delete everything, including seals in. The S, it's probably something's in. That seems reasonably likely. Boy, this is a disaster, isn't it? Surfer's destination, in brief. I don't know. SLO, San Luis Obispo, is that a surfer's destination? Behind. I mean, it could be LAX, it could be an airport code if you were thinking destination in a plane journey on a 747 perhaps, because maybe you'd be flying to Southern California as a surfer, I don't know. Behind, catch blank, half of Guys and Dolls. Half of Guys and Dolls. What on earth? Leave quickly without. So only something plus the word out means leave quickly. Dash out, maybe? Genre for... Oh, wait, hold on. What was this? Oh, no, I was thinking maybe reality TV. No, I already thought that. Sorry. Genre for Jersey Shore and the real world. I was wondering if maybe this ends in V for television TV. Leave quickly without. I don't know. Respect. I'm not kind of confident about dash either. Boy, what a mess this is. I'll just have to keep going. It's all work and no play. I don't even know. Oh, Blank Carter, protagonist in 2018's The Hate You Give. Oh, I don't know. I remember this film coming out, but didn't see it. Emmy-winning title role for Rachel Brosnahan. I don't even think I've heard this name before. I'm sorry. Is this Mrs. Maisel? I have no idea. It's just sort of, I know it's a recent show that exists, and that L makes me wonder, is that how you spell it? Is it an A-L? I think it's E-L. What is it? The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, perhaps? Oh, that's funny. Marvel. And then we had Captain Marvel up here. Is it? This might not even be Marvelous, so that might be a non-coincidence. Note could be you could leave a memo, a note. Food fungus in Fulham. Food fungus. Why can I not think of a food fungus? Boy, just not my day. Basis for a case. Trial. I don't know. Roe source. Smelt? Is that a fish from which you can derive roe? Oh, I see what this is. Food fungus in Fulham. So here Fulham is referring, okay, this happens occasionally. Fulham is referring to a location in Britain. And so as a result of that, we will use the British sort of spelling of the word in question. And here, I don't know why I couldn't think of mold when I was thinking food fungus, but for whatever reason, until I saw the L, I couldn't. And here in the UK, in fact, mold would be spelled with a U, whereas in the US, it would be spelled without the U, just M-O-L-D. So that's what that means. So that's something at least. Run down in a way. Like Trump's presidency, one term. It's at least a fairly straightforward clue, finally. Trial, basis for a case, trial issue? I don't think I know that phrase isn't really familiar to me, but issue seems plausible enough. Needed help. Needed help. Oh, no, sorry. It's not needed help. It's not need as a verb. It's needed as an adjective. So needed as in necessary or essential. So it's help that is needed. And in fact, I think the reason I think that is because I think essential fits here. Essential what? Needed help. Essential aid. Essential service. I don't know. We'll get there eventually. Oh, what about this? Oh, this looks like Larson. Oh, Brie Larson is someone I've heard of. So what is this then? Oh, it's not this at all. I was on completely the wrong track. So better suited is abler, and basis for a case. Oh, a legal issue. Much more straightforward. So it's not any kind of fancy legal term. It's just, generally speaking, a legal issue, basis for a case. And brand owned by Campbell's. Oh, Prego, maybe? Let's say what? A tomato sauce brand, I think. Things oologists study. Oh, eggs. Did I see this clue earlier? I can't remember. But yes, that does refer to eggs. And little piggy. This little piggy went to market, and so on. And I don't think I saw this clue either. Civil rights activist Roy Wilkins. So now we have this entire area cleaned up. Boy, that was helpful. I didn't do myself any favors, I suppose, by just putting in the first word that came to my mind for better suited. Abler. It's probably better than apter. Apter. Can you say apter? Would you say? I mean, I would say more apt. I don't know if apter is grammatical. So perhaps it was, perhaps that was a foolish entry on 2 counts. I don't know. But I think this is all correct now. That all looks good. Oh, 1 of 2 in a 747. 2 aisles. Yes, of course. Because it is a wide-body aircraft, a wide-body 4-engine aircraft, it does have 2 aisles rather than 1 single central aisle. So there we have it. Run down in a way. Oh, could be you could slander somebody. You could run them down metaphorically with slanderous speech. Question asked while pointing a finger. See it, maybe? See it? Sort of an odd question, a very clipped question, but I suppose it's fair enough. So this maybe is seals in flavor, preserves as flavor, seals in. And actress Wilson. Right. Yeah. I mean, Rhea came to mind, but I'm not confident at all. What might get stuck in a window? And promises too much. I mean, this does look like oversells. Now that these two L's are confirmed. What about this? Like some feuds and foods on a stove, feuds and foods, each of them could be simmering. So how about that? Simmering feud and simmering food. Attention. What is this? Eat? Ear? Oh, I see. As in, lend me your ear, lend me your attention. Romans countrymen, lend me your attention. Friends, Romans countrymen. Okay. 1950s number one hit with the repeated lyric, Bring Me a Dream. Mr. Sandman. I would have, if I didn't get that immediately, I would have probably been misled by thinking this was Mrs. rather than Mr. S something, but I certainly remember that lyric. Okay, defects. Well, it could be, well, I said it as defects as in deserts aside in a military force or something, but it could also be defects as in errors or problems. Flaws. Either way, it probably ends with an S, actually. Like those celebrated with an annual day of visibility on March 31st, Trans Day of Visibility. And looking at those crosses, get the services of, as a lawyer, could be retain if you have a legal issue. Pitted fruit. Pitted fruit. Sorry. Like many TV broadcasts since the 1990s. Oh, in HD, perhaps? Interesting, yeah. I suppose so. Tweaks further, re-edits. I assume Will Shortz does a lot of re-editing. Pitted fruit. Why do I not see what this is? Oh, dates. Oh, right. So it's plural, because of course you could refer to fruit. Dates are fruit. The fruits doesn't need to have an S at the end to be collective in that way. Give up. Lose faith, perhaps? How about that? And popular women's health app. Not sure. What about this? Shady as a street. Shady as a street. Tree lined? Yeah. Lined with trees and therefore shady. Low numbers. Oh, although I didn't notice there's a question mark, so some kind of pun or wordplay. So it could be numbers that are low, but actually, if anything, it definitely won't be that because of the question mark. So it could be, well, I could think of a number of things this could be. It could be low as in cows lowing, so number of cows in a herd. It could be numbers as in songs, so sad songs, or songs about being physically low as opposed to metaphorically. I don't know what that would mean. Actually, wait, right. I said sad songs, and then I didn't think to check if it fits. So the popular women's health app, is Flow. Oh, actually, I think I do know what that is. I think I've heard of that. And dregs, could it be lees, like the byproducts in some alcohol production, like wine production? Is that what that is? Put into service, used. El color de mar, azul? I would have assumed azure. Is Rees what I'm thinking of? Dregs? I think it must be with that azure. But I really thought the word for I'm pretty certain there's some kind of wine byproduct that's lees. So maybe that is correct. And my Spanish knowledge is pretty minimal, so I don't know. What about this? Novelist blank Neil Hurston. Yes, Zora Neale Hurston. Their eyes were watching God, for instance. Secondary social media accounts informally are alternates. And put into service is used. Right, I already did this. Why am I looking at that again? Okay, great. So let's keep going. What do we have to fill in? defects, right? Warts, warts and all, defects and all. So then that will help here. Needed help, essential worker. There we go. Phrase with which we've all become familiar in the past couple of years. Wonder if that's a first-time entry in the grid. And actually, I think I've seen it before in the crossword, strangely enough, within the last year. I'm not sure. Anyway, lack of objections in a phrase. No no-nos? Is that something? That seems, I've never heard that before, but I could imagine it being a phrase if you're saying, well, there seems to be a lack of objections. There seem to be no no-nos. I don't know. It's bizarre. I'm going to remove that. Behind. So it could be behind as an adjective. You are behind someone else, or these numbers are behind, or it could be physically you're behind your rear end. But I don't know which. I'm too busy right now. Ask me later. Ask me about behind later. Kitchen flare-up. An oil fire? Pull in could be earn money. Iraqi port city. Oh, why can I not bring this to mind? That's always very frustrating. Tactic of radical environmentalism. Eco... what? Point Blank Peninsula, west-northwest of San Francisco. Well, I have an unfair advantage here, having spent almost the great majority of my adult life in San Francisco. Point Reyes. I do know that. Would not expect that to be common knowledge. It's very beautiful, though. Sort of a cliff face overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Behind could be tardy. You could be late. You could be tardy. And, Basra. Basra, Iraq, of course. And then no bone. Right, okay. No bones. I don't have a bone to pick, I guess. Lack of objection, no bones. I usually think of bones in this context being used when you do have an objection. I have a bone to pick. I don't know that I'm familiar with the phrase no bones, but it's perfectly understandable what it means. All right. Tactic of radical environmentalism. Ecotage, sabotage? That seems a little bit awkward. Kitchen flare-up. Oh, yeah, okay. Must be right. Grease fire. Fair enough. Shepherded could be led. And blank car, Amtrak train component. Safe car? What is that? Going back to blank hip-hop classic, and then here specs. Could be the deets, the details, and specs is a sort of slangy contraction of specifications, and so will do the answer be abbreviated. Deets from details in a slangy way. Woman's nickname that sounds like its first and third letters. Well, first we do have the third letter, so it ends in T. Why can't I think what this is? I don't know. Sorry, that's very frustrating. A red one is concerning. Red alert. Sorry for just staring silently at the crossword grid for half a minute there. That's not the best video content. Kit Kat bar. Oh, Katie. Sorry, what? All right. One of the more common women's nicknames, I would say. Couldn't think of it. Burns out could be tires. You could burn out on the Sunday crossword. I don't know. That happens to me sometimes. Oh boy, I just don't know this. Going back to Sally. So here we have blank car, Amtrak train component. Oh, cafe car. Sorry, cafe car and going back to Cali. Going back to Cali. That sounds much more plausible. That seems like an extremely plausible song title. I don't know what that was all about. That reminds me, did I ever get I don't think I did, the Surfer's Destination. No, I was wondering if it was Californian, because we have sort of, obviously not themes, but little echoes in this puzzle occasionally, like Cali and Point Reyes, which is in California. And then there was another one of those sorts of things, but I don't remember what it was. Anyway, let's move on. All right, now I've got to tackle this corner that has been my bane throughout this solve so far. It's all work and no play. I don't know. Respect. Could this be something else? Promises too much. I was going to think hard sells, but that's not really the same thing. It doesn't work in quite the same way. Respect. Ah, boy, very, very frustrating not to see any of these. What about this? Genre for Jersey Shore and the real world. They're not love things, which, I mean, not primarily. Blank Daniels. Oh, Cedric Daniels, actually. That sort of just popped into my head. Cedric is definitely I don't remember surnames, but does that work? This looks odd, actually, now. I don't know. Star Carter? Is there any way that's true? Actress Wilson. Oh, Rita Wilson. Sorry. Not Rhea Wilson. Rita Wilson. Yes. Yes. Actually, I do know who Rita Wilson is, and I can picture her in my mind. Okay. Really not my best solve. What might get stuck in a window? Oh, a decal. If it gets stuck. Does that work? Yes, I see. So it's not that this is a very clever clue in terms of its misdirection, because when we see get stuck, we think inadvertently become fixed, right? But that's not what this means here. When it says get stuck, it means someone or something else will do the sticking. So the decal is going to get stuck by somebody in a window. So somebody might stick a decal in their car window, for instance. And the in is slightly misdirecting as well, because technically, more accurately, you would say on the window, but it is absolutely acceptable idiomatic speech in English to say, oh, there's a decal on the window over there. That's perfectly normal. So it all actually works, but I was on completely the wrong track. Okay, so respect is reverence. And surfer's destination in brief. Well, it's nothing that I was thinking of. I'm just not sure. Oh, right. Genre for Jersey Shore in the real world. Documentary? Obviously not. I don't think anyone would call these documentaries, even though I suppose it's technically true. It is documenting real events. They're just real events that were sort of slightly manufactured for the purpose of the recording. Surfer's destination in brief. Oh, it could be a web surfer. Sorry. Okay, I don't know why that didn't occur to me. It could be a URL, uniform resource locator, such as nytimes.com/crosswords. Cold brew alternative. Oh, iced latte, I suppose. Okay, right. So it's not an alternative to the cold part. It's an alternative to cold brew. It's an alternative to brewed coffee. An iced latte is an espresso drink, so a different sort of cold coffee drink. Oh, so your behind is your rear. Why didn't I think that? I just really am not in fine form today. Catch onto something. It took me quite a long time to catch onto this crossword, that's for sure. No idea. Half of Guys and Dolls. Oh, is that a 2-act musical? So is act 1 half of it, perhaps? It's all work and no play. Toil. Is there something? Oh, maybe this isn't behind. Maybe it's seat, as in your seat. You sit down. It's all work and no play. Toil. So leave quickly without. Oh, docu-soap. I have never heard that phrase before. I suppose it makes enough sense. These are essentially soap operas in terms of the kinds of storylines that exist on them, but they have a documentary element because they're real people in a situation. So peel out, as in a car. So I think peeling out in an automobile refers to when you rev the engine and then release the clutch. I don't know if you could do this in an automatic car, but in a manual transmission car, you could rev the engine with the clutch depressed, release the clutch, and then your wheels would be going incredibly fast, and they would peel rubber off of the tire. That's always actually what, I don't know if that's the derivation of this, but that's always my assumption about this, is that it refers to literal rubber being peeled from the tires. And there we go. All right, that's correct. So, Azul was correct, which seemed right to me initially, and then I had a second guess about Azur. But the dregs are the lees, and this I am fairly confident about. I think that's a wine byproduct. So yeah, I found this a pretty tricky crossword, and what's interesting is that there isn't actually there. I will say there were a fair number of proper nouns, and actually that was probably the biggest thing that gave me. Well, no, that's not true. It was that, and then the bits of misdirection that gave me trouble. So Brie Larson took me a while to get that. Mrs. Maisel, I got pretty lucky, I think, getting that from an L. I'm pleased with myself on that note. I got Mr. Sandman quite quickly. That was the only one of these about which I was extremely confident, I think. Katie took me a strangely long time. Yeah, just a general Bosra I should have remembered more quickly. And then some things I'd really never heard before, like ecotage, environmental sabotage, presumably, docu-soap, the genre for Jersey Shore and the real world. Never heard that one before. Star Carter, protagonist in 2018's The Hate You Give. Not having seen the film, it's not a big surprise that I didn't know that name. Yeah, just a generally sort of tricky puzzle. And I suppose in many cases tricky for the reasons that I think I appreciate a Friday puzzle being tricky, a themeless puzzle being tricky, with the just misdirection throughout that I found pretty clever. And I really enjoyed that. I'm personally less fond of needing to know a bunch of fictional character names from things that essentially came out 5 minutes ago in historical terms. I mean, I understand that, I guess for a lot of people that probably makes them easier than older cultural references. But I guess I have a bit of a soft spot for cultural references that have existed long enough that they've sort of remained in the public consciousness. But it's always hard to know what passes that test. It's a completely made up test. I do not begrudge the New York Times crossword from trying to modernize itself a bit. So yes, a bit of a tricky puzzle for me. Let me know how you fared. And with that, let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. So this was a case where I don't think there were a huge number of things that I got wrong necessarily, but there was a higher than average amount of additional context. So, here's actually something that I didn't know. So Kathleen Quinn says, having never heard of the word snell, I had to look it up. It is defined as a short piece of nylon, gut, or the like, by which a fishhook is attached to a line. So there you go. I've probably come across that before, but it certainly didn't stick in my memory either. So there you go. A bit of fishing, bit of angling terminology, snell. And Tamar Dolev says, yes, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are part of the high holidays, along with Sukkot, which comes third, celebrated around September or October, depending on the lunar year. So I guess for whatever reason, I just had it in my mind that these are referred to as the high holy days rather than the high holidays. But yeah, I don't know why. So thank you, Tamar. James Andrews, regarding the French horns clue in yesterday's puzzle, which I think stumped me for a while because I really wanted it to be French horn, the wolf and Peter and the wolf. James Andrews says, yes, it is 3 French horns, to be precise. Not just 1, not 2, but 3 French horns in the Prokofiev piece. ZOR95 explains that Dementors, which was a Harry Potter monster that was referenced in yesterday's puzzle, they're the guards of the wizard prison, Azkaban. They are often referred to as sucking out happiness from the surroundings. The soul-sucking referred to in the question is an act known as the Dementor's Kiss. They do wind up siding with Voldemort when he comes back to power. So there we go. Voldemort is the bad guy that I've heard of from Harry Potter, so that's why I mentioned him. I was wondering if that fit. It didn't fit in the clue at all, so it was the Dementors. And finally, James Dickey says, I'm guessing Annie is Annie Oakley. She was a sharpshooter in the Wild West shows back in the late 19th century, and this was referring to Annie and Frank, who were referenced in yesterday's puzzle. And on that note, Rick Di Natale says, and Frank is Frank Butler. They were the couple in Annie Get Your Gun. and in reality. I don't know why I couldn't bring Annie Oakley to mind. It was so strange, because I certainly am familiar with that historical figure. Yeah, don't know why. But thank you to everybody who has compensated for my fading memory, I suppose. I appreciate it, as always. Another thing I appreciate, as always, is everybody who has supported the Patreon campaign, so thank you for that. And everyone who has subscribed to the channel. I very much appreciate that as well. So please do so if you've not already. And if you think you know someone who might enjoy this, pass it along to them, either in person or, well, directly online, I suppose, more likely than in person, and or on your online community of choice. Why not? Could be anywhere. And I appreciate everybody who's done so. I guess I just said that, but I doubly appreciate it. And that's that. I'll be back tomorrow for the Saturday puzzle. Actually, I'm out of town for the next 3 days, I think. So I don't know if that means I'm going to be missing the puzzle on any of the days. I will try to have something up on the channel one way or another. It will probably still be the regular daily puzzle. That will probably be the case. But I'm just giving you a bit of a warning. It's possible there will be a replacement. But I'll try hard for that not to be true. So anyway, thank you for being here. There will be something on the channel tomorrow, whether or not it's the Saturday puzzle, probably the Saturday puzzle. Either way, I hope you do come check out whatever it is. And until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.